6:47 the time now. HS2 has promised lots. Some of the fastest trains in Europe, thousands of jobs, more than half an hour shaved off the journey time between London and Birmingham.
It's going to make a huge difference, and today the project is due to get the final approval in the House of Commons. But some fear the construction will bring widespread disruption to the lives of people living and working along the line. Ben is in Birmingham for us this morning. In the wind and rain, I have to say, where a new station will be built for the trains. Morning to you, Ben.
Yeah, morning guys. I should just say before we start, you're going to have to bear with us this morning because it's very wet, it's very windy, it's very wild down here, so we'll try and persevere as best we can. But yeah, you're right, we're here, and you might just be able to make out over my shoulder there. That's going to be the site of the new proposed terminal at Curzon Street. It's going to be the terminal for the new HS2 train when it comes into Birmingham. Of course, that's the first phase of the project. The second phase then takes it beyond here to Leeds and Manchester. But of course, it first proposed back in 2009. It's been beset with all sorts of problems, concerns about the route, concerns about the cost, and particularly for people who live and work along that line. So let's hear from both sides of that debate. Henrietta's with me from the City of Birmingham Chamber of Commerce, and Joe is with me from Stop HS2. Morning to you both. Let me just start with you, because you think this is a good thing for Birmingham. You welcome the investment, and looking around us here, we can see there is huge investment in Birmingham. This is just the latest in that long line of events.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a great location for having this conversation this morning. So you can very much see not only some of the new investment that's come in, the cranes on the skyline, but also the opportunity from this great big empty site here that the HS2 site will bring. So we've had a lot of success stories. There's a lot in the news around, particularly like the Paradise Circus redevelopment, HSBC relocating their UK headquarters to Birmingham. And really it's become part of that success story of the city, the HS2 station coming to Birmingham as well, and not just the direct investment from the HS2 line, but also all the associated benefits. So there's a lot of work going on with local stakeholders about how they can maximise this opportunity to really kickstart regeneration in the area, to kickstart supply chain opportunities, get businesses working with HS2, and even improve public transport from areas outside of Birmingham into Birmingham to make the most of it.
So Joe, Henrietta laying out the benefits for Birmingham, but you absolutely don't agree that it's what Birmingham needs right now?
No, what we're seeing today is a triumph of vested interest and spin against evidence-based policy. The whole case for HS2 has been invented, it's been totally made up by the people who want to build it, the construction industry and the consultants therein. What we've seen over the last few years is they've basically been running their own gravy train. The first set of contracts went 88% over budget. We've just seen the contracts from the chair of HS2 Limited's company, CH2M. They come in 49% over budget, and we've seen the backdrop over the years. Started at 30 billion, it was going to connect to HS1 and the Channel Tunnel, it was going to connect to Heathrow. That's all been cut. The official cost is now at 56 billion. The cost is going to keep going up and up and up for something that is only a vanity project, a fast train for fat cats.
Do you see the point, though, that something needs to be done? If you take a peak time train out of London, trying to get to the West Midlands or the North West, they are too busy. It's not necessarily just about speed, it's about capacity. Our trains, as they stand, can't take many more passengers.
Well, Theresa May admitted herself at Prime Minister's Question Time a couple of weeks ago that you can increase capacity on trains by up to 40% simply by putting in in-cab signalling. There have always been these cheaper ways of improving capacity, of upgrading the rail network, and the bottom line is that the vast majority of passengers are commuters who will not benefit from HS2. They're saying that you're going to free up capacity, but there is, in the HS2 business case, a requirement for £11.2 billion worth of cuts, because freeing up capacity means losing the trains you already have for many places that are not on the main route of HS2.
And Henrietta, briefly, you take Joe's point that money needs to be spent, and he says it should be spent in a different way. Does he have a point?
I disagree. I think HS2 will represent great value for money overall, provided it's kept on track, and we do have people like Joe challenging, making sure that it's kept on message, kept on budget. But it is incredibly difficult to predict exactly what the costs of something like this will be. It is a 20-year project, and as we've seen just in the last 12 months, things can change unrecognisably in 12 months. So I really do feel for the people who have to make the decisions about what they estimate the costs will be, because interest rates, exchange rates, what's going on in terms of costs of imports will change dramatically in that time.
OK, Henrietta, Joe, for now, thanks very much. We'll continue this debate a little later. So I hope you were able to stay with us. Cameraman Larry there doing a great job of keeping the lens clean. So we're going to go inside and get dry because the weather, and Doris is making her presence felt down here in Birmingham this morning already.
Time now is 8:24. Got to go to Birmingham now. Ben's there for us this morning. Ben, we can see you behind you there. You're there because of HS2. This big decision today, the final go-ahead, effectively, for that high-speed rail link between London and Birmingham.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You'll notice if you were with us earlier, you'll listen how wet and windy it was. The rain has gone, but the wind is here. Storm Doris making her presence felt here. But you're right, we're talking about HS2 because it gets the final seal of approval later. It gets the go-ahead, so that work can, in theory, begin. But it's been beset by all sorts of controversy about the costs, but also about the route that it will take and where in the country it will stop, all of that sort of thing. So it does get the go-ahead today, but what happens next? Well, with me, two guests who can probably explain a little more. Henrietta's from the City of Birmingham Chamber of Commerce, and Joe, you're from Stop HS2. And just to say, you'll be able to see behind them, that's going to be the location of the new station, Curzon Street Station here in Birmingham. Henrietta, just to start with you, when we talk about the investment, I mean, we can see all the investment that's gone into Birmingham already. This is just the next stage of that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. HS2 itself has already been a catalyst for change in the region. You talk about a lot of businesses who cite in their case for moving to or expanding in Birmingham the confidence shown in the city by the investment coming through from HS2 and the greater links down to London. So yes, HS2 already catalysing a load of investment, and itself will represent a great big chunk of money coming into the region.
Joe, you don't agree that that money's being spent in the right place, do you?
No, when you look at the investment that's going into HS2, £56 billion if we believe the official estimates, that's a ridiculous amount of money for the number of jobs that it's going to create. It's very poor value for money, and the reality is this is just a mechanism for the construction industry to siphon billions of pounds of public money into their pockets.
We need to improve the railways. If you've ever got an overcrowded train out of London to the West Midlands or to the North West, you know that more money is needed on those trains. Why is this not the answer?
Well, it's not the answer because when you're making those decisions, you have to pick the best projects. It's perfectly capable of investing in rail infrastructure and increasing capacity, spending a lot less money and benefiting a lot more people far more quickly than HS2 will, which is just going to prove to be a fast train for fat cats.
Henrietta, should the money be used elsewhere? Should it be used to improve our existing network rather than, £60 billion on faster trains?
I disagree. I think it is a very worthwhile investment, and it's worth bearing in mind that it's not just about the physical railway line, it's about everything else it catalyses and changes. It's great to be here today because you can see physically the site where HS2 station will be going, and what you can't see is the plans in place behind the scenes for massive regeneration of the area, the stakeholders that have come together to improve transport links into the HS2 area, and really the broader benefits beyond the line itself.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks very much, Henrietta and Joe there. So that debate rages on. It gets final approval later today. But of course, until all of that happens, we'll have to wait and see how long it takes to build it.